Welcome back to the Tu Diep channel, where every story is more than just fleeting romance, but rather a profound journey of emotions, personal growth, and the value of familial bonds. Today, I'd like to share with you a very special story, one in which love doesn't begin with perfection, but is carefully nurtured through pain and mutual understanding between two souls who have endured life's challenges. James, a successful man returning home after many years abroad, and Tu Diep, a resilient woman with a past marked by hardship. James, a young entrepreneur with a global vision, spent many years living and working overseas. To many, he seemed like the perfect man, intelligent, confident, with a thriving career and a respected social status. Yet, beneath the polished exterior was a man with unanswered questions, searching for true peace, the meaning of happiness, and the elusive feeling of genuine emotional connection. Perhaps it was this emptiness that led him back to Vietnam, a return to his roots and a chance to rediscover himself in his hometown. Through a serendipitous yet fated encounter, James met Tu Diep. She wasn't someone who dazzled at first glance, but once you looked closely, you couldn't look away. Her charm wasn't in her physical appearance, but in the depth of her eyes, the calmness of her demeanor, the aura of someone who had weathered many storms. Tu Diep didn't have a life paved with roses. She had been married and had seen her family fall apart. The years after her failed marriage were filled with uncertainty and emotional turmoil. Yet instead of collapsing under the weight of it all, she chose to rise, quietly, steadily, with unwavering resolve. She learned to heal herself, to smile even when her heart still ached. It was precisely this quiet strength that captivated James, a man who had grown accustomed to superficial glitz and fleeting connections. The love between James and Tu Diep didn't ignite like fireworks, but unfolded gently like the morning sun. Neither of them rushed to define their relationship. Yet each shared moment, glance, and sincere word built something deeply meaningful. Tu Diep's presence became a soothing balm for James, whose heart had grown numb from endless ambition, pressure, and shallow relationships. The first person to notice the change in James was his mother, a perceptive, experienced woman who loved her son fiercely but with a stern grace. After years abroad, she too returned to Vietnam to be closer to him. She quickly sensed that James was no longer the man driven solely by work and plans. He was quieter now, more reflective, as if carrying an unspoken burden. Upon learning that her son was growing close to a woman with a troubled past and a failed marriage, she couldn't help but feel concerned. From a mother's perspective, one who had sacrificed everything for her child, Tu Diep, no matter how strong or intelligent, still seemed like a risky choice. She feared that Tu Diep's past might bring complications, and that her broken heart might not be strong enough to sustain James's happiness. The first meeting between James's mother and Tu Diep was a conversation rich in unspoken meanings. Neither woman dressed up their words with flowery diplomacy. The mother, with the calm poise of someone who had seen much in life, asked direct questions. Tu Diep, with genuine honesty, didn't try to justify or avoid. She recounted her life like a slow-motion film, filled with sorrow and scars, but also resilience and rebirth. That quiet strength, candidness, and dignity gradually shifted the mother's perspective. She no longer saw Tu Diep as a woman who had failed, but as a person who lived truthfully, who embraced her pain, and never stopped moving forward. In Tu Diep's eyes, she recognized something familiar, the same silent determination and enduring love she herself once had in her youth. That conversation became a turning point, not only between the two women but also in James's relationship with his mother. She stopped intervening and began to observe and listen. Her trust became a precious gift, not only for James but also for Tu Diep, who had never expected to be fully accepted after everything she had been through. The love between James and Tu Diep didn't involve grand promises or dramatic gestures. Instead, it had the power to soothe old wounds and bridge the gap between seemingly different souls. They didn't come together out of need, but because they found in each other what they had been searching for all along, a heart peaceful enough to listen and strong enough to walk forward together. This story is also a beautiful symphony of motherhood, where a mother once filled with doubt and fear ultimately chose to trust in her son's maturity and emotional depth. It is a moment of generational shift, between old beliefs and new perspectives on love, happiness, and personal choice. James and Tu Diep aren't the heroes of a fairy tale romance. They represent real people, with imperfect pasts and invisible scars, who still had the courage to love again. They are proof that we don't need a flawless beginning. Only two hearts willing to understand and heal together. Through this story, I hope you find a piece of yourself, in past heartbreaks, in present hopes, or simply in the belief that true love will always find a way to bloom, even in the soil that once seemed barren. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to follow the channel for more deeply meaningful and soulful tales. Every story is a chance to understand, not just others, but also ourselves.